Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Astroneer with your friend Kuros Paladin. So, I've been doing a lot of work at home base, and that is getting the rail station in place here at home base. Not at the TTC, but here at home. So, um, it took me a good hour and a half to do this. It is my meticulous stuff that I do, and I'm just going to show it to you now. So I decided there's going to be a road that comes through about here. I have this entrance to the underworld that I wanted to preserve. So I kept that, and then on the other side of it will be the rail. So here is the rail, and there's the main line, and the station is on the siding. So it took a lot of effort. There's still a little bit of cleanup that could happen here, maybe. I mean, it depends on how meticulous I really want to get. I may put some landscape here, some plants, just to separate the main line from the station. And then this portion of the rail network is energized and oxygenized. It is connected, you can see underneath here, it is connected to the shelter, and the shelter is part of the main network. Well, it is the only network at this moment. Um, well, there's the rail network over at the TTC. And eventually, when those rails are connected to these rails, then boom, they will, of course, become energized and oxygenated. So the TTC is off in this direction. I have not. Uh-oh. Hey, the little guy is stuck. There we go. I have not gone as far as. Oh, he doesn't stand on the rail. Okay. As I haven't gone as far as actually connecting that yet, as you can see. And these ends aren't finished because when I do connect a rail post, it's actually going to gouge out, probably a lot of this work that I already did. But I can deal with that. It was this part that takes the most amount of effort, and that's just using the alignment mod and a lot of patience. So I might widen this right here just a little bit. There's a little bit of tweaking that can still occur. So the next thing that would probably happen here is at this station is to, of course, extend out toward the other network. I haven't decided how far along I am going to stay at ground level, because it is a pain in the butt to keep those rails like that. It really is. I mean, just one segment from one rail post to the next can take a good 20 minutes. That's a lot of time to spend on rail network. And when you've got 10, I'm going to say there's at least, 15 to 20 before I get to the next network. I mean, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time. 400 and some odd minutes. That's really 5 hours, almost 6 hours. No, it's more than 6 hours. It's 6.5 hours, right? 3,600, 360, yeah. So, that just way too much time, but I wasn't going to go that far anyhow. I was thinking I have to almost certainly go up and over the road. I am guessing that the road is going to cross the rail. So either the road goes over or the rail goes over, or it is a true grade crossing and I have some fun there with some signals. I have done that before as well. However, that requires more items than I have at the moment. I need active storage, power switches, power sensors, delay repeaters, so I need a little bit more for all of that to finalize it if I do an upgrade. I haven't decided even where the road is going yet because I was going to wait until I get the paver and drill for the rover so that I can easily build that road. I can't believe in my very first save of Astroneer, I built a road around the entire planet at the equator using the terrain tool. And then it wasn't until later, after I had done it, that I realized I could have just used the paver and the drill on the rover. But I learned a lot doing that. I really did. So, hey, we learn from our mistakes. So, all right. So I would like to paint this. And that is really kind of easy to do. It's just the terrain analyzer, an inhibitor mod, and then I get the right shade or the right colors. So I have 6 colors I go for, and they're always here on Silva. A light green, a medium green, and a dark green. And then there's a light brown, kind of this orange right here that you see. Then there's a mid brown, and then there's a dark brown. Those are the 6 main colors that I get, and they're all right here on Silva. And this is probably going to be the mid brown or dark brown. And then some green, you know, a little bit of green in between. So I have zinc. I have at least 2 there. Actually, I have, that's titanium. I have 1, 2, 3 zinc. So I can do this because I only need 2 to start. An inhibitor mod and a terrain analyzer. So if I go into the small printer, actually that is not what I meant, or is it? Small, medium, yeah, small being the backpack, yeah. The terrain analyzer. Now I always forget where it is at. There. Oh, okay, and I did unlock it already. Okay, so I do remember unlocking it. So what I also need the inhibitor mod, which is not that. Where is the inhibitor mod? There it is, right there. It's also 1,000. I have 20,000. I'm gonna go for it. All right. So let me grab 2 zinc. 1, 2. Whoop. That's a lot more than 2 zinc. There we go. I have a lot of... Oh, that's because I picked some tethers up. Okay. There was a tether line that went across here, but now it can just connect to that instead. So, all right. So let's go ahead and get the terrain analyzer. There's the inhibitor. Let's do that. Okay, and then the terrain analyzer. All right. So for the terrain analyzer, I'm going to go down here and I am going to find... So here's the mid and there's the dark. There's both of the... Actually, I'm sorry. This is that orange that I think it's up above. There's the mid brown, and that is what I want the terrain around the rails to be, is this mid. And it's not a big deal. If it's the wrong one, it is easily repaintable. So, so the way you do it, it's very straightforward. You equip the terrain analyzer and have it enabled, because you can, of course, toggle it on and off. And then you start just picking up terrain of the color you want. Now, as soon as you get any color into a terrain analyzer, it is locked into that color. So you have to be very careful with that first grab. So make certain that first grab you really are getting the color you want. After that, you have to fill it up. It is not how much gets pulled up, it is how long the terrain tool is on that color. Because if I were to go up to the black solid stuff under the shelter with no drill, it would not modify the terrain, but it would continue to analyze. And then after about 5 or 6 seconds, I think it is, it says, okay, it's done, and it fills up. But because this terrain is always modifiable, I'll have to, distort the terrain a little bit. So it is very straightforward. We just go ahead and we suck up some terrain. And you heard a little beep there. So that beep means, okay, it started. And then if I go on this orange, nothing will happen. Well, I won't say nothing. It won't do anything to the inhibitor mod. But if I go on the brown, you'll hear it tick. But the orange, it doesn't. So eventually it'll do a little chime when it's filled. There. So it's full. And now it will not modify any terrain except its color. So you'll see I'm on this orange, it's not doing anything, but here it will. So the other thing that's great, if I had had these terrain analyzers ahead of time, if you have a terrain analyzer equipped and you add terrain, the terrain will be the color of that in terrain analyzer. So I could have actually done all of this with the correct color, but I didn't. So now to paint, all you need to do is equip the inhibitor mod, ensure it is also on. Have your terrain tool. Now you can use the V as in Victor key to toggle these modes. And you'll see there's the remove terrain, level, and add. And you'll see the color for level and add is the color of the terrain analyzer. And now, if I just click as if though I'm adding terrain, but the inhibitor mod prevents modification or deformation of the terrain. Instead, all it will do is paint the terrain. Now, it does a small amount occasionally of modifying the terrain, but not a lot. So I don't like this gray, this default gray. So I just get rid of it. Anywhere I can see it, I get rid of it. I don't like it. It is an ugly color. I just do not like it. So we're just going to start by getting rid of all of it and making this brown to start with. Then we can plant grass later on. Now, if I had the wide mod, it would also speed this up because the wide mod would, of course, modify, that reticle would be a lot larger at that point. Or reticle, I'm sorry. Did I say reticle? Reticle. No, wait, now I'm doubting the word. It's bad. I'm at a point in my life where when I'm writing, we still write, some of us, with pencils and pens. I get to the letters B and D, as in, boy and dog. And it's like, which direction does the B go? Which direction does the D go? It's pretty bad. But anyhow, so go around here. The gray underneath I don't so much care about, and I have to be really careful I don't pick up that junction or any of the rail posts or even the rail station, for heaven's sake, and then just undo all of this work that I've just done. So let's go ahead. We're going to paint this as well. Just get rid of this. And then since I'm here, let's just go ahead and paint this. Because like I said, I really don't like that gray. It is ugly. Oops, I don't know what happened there. I got a little bit extra, but yeah, I'm getting I'm getting the ceiling, but oh well. It's underground. Of course there's going to be some dirt, so but it can occasionally modify the terrain ever so slightly. I have had platforms buck. Yeah, you can see right there, I got the ceiling. I've had platforms buck when I've used it and such, but it is very minor changes. But there we go. That is almost exactly what I was looking for. I want to get a little bit of green down the middle here, or some other color, maybe the lighter brown. And then put some plants once I start getting into seeds. Maybe even a row of the plume firs. That's the trees that we see over here. 1 or 2 plume firs in between. You don't usually see that in a real world railroad. You don't usually have trees in between the rail lines. But this isn't a real thing. So I can, have fun with it. I also had to make a decision. Which way did I want the rail station to actually face? Did I want it to back up to the main line like it is over at the TTC? Or did I want it to be more like a real rail station where usually the rail station is not, the platform itself that the passengers are on is not in between the rails. So I thought here I'm going to do it the more the usual way it's done. But the TTC, I did it that way because it backs up to the platform, the landing pad in a way. So when you're at the station, if you're waiting at the station, you're looking at the train station of Main Street as opposed to looking at this landing pad. So that's why I did it that way as well. So here you get to sit and look at this beautiful landscape over here. Thinking of landscape, I want to say this. I played with another person recently, and they invited me to join their game. And I'm telling you, I'll call the person down. It's Son of Volgar. I hope that's how it's pronounced, Volgar. Invited me into his save, and I'm telling you, he had in his save the most amazing, with his starting shelter, your little Astroneer comes out of the shelter, turns, and there's just this beautiful mountain right there. Just an absolute beautiful thing. And one of the things that attracted me to this game is, the detail, the voxels are low res, but it still can make for some really beautiful landscapes. So, but anyhow, all right. So that's this station. My next step is going to be fixing up the TTC, as well as, of course, connecting TTC to this station. Something else I noticed in between episodes, I had remembered, and then when I saw it and then remembered, I had left a buggy, I think just like right about here. And then as I went by about the 4th time, and I went by it, I was like, wait, that's not a wreck, that's a buggy. And it's like, oh yeah, that's right, I left a buggy there. So I retrieved it. And now I have 2 buggies. So I have to decide where the road is going to go. I think I'm going to have the rail go over the road somewhere around here. If not here, because I want the rail to follow this hill as opposed to going through it. So I want the rail to go here in this usual path. And just follow the edge of this hill. And then the road, I will build a what was that? Spider buggy? It like clung to the ceiling. Anyhow, the road will probably go more in the middle, respecting the terrain, as it were. So it will curve around a little bit. Probably build a bridge right here on this narrowest part. And then there's another crevice up there that I'll have to build a bridge over for the road, which means I'll probably have the rail as it follows this hill come right up to here, come up to hill, come up to here, maybe even take it up a little bit, and then probably this is where they will cross over, or the rail will cross over the road, probably right here. And I think I'm going to do the cross or the separated grade as opposed to a grade at grade, because I just don't want it's a fun thing to do. It's a lot of work, and I may do the at grade crossing for rail elsewhere. But for this one, it will be separated because, again, I'm thinking of this rail line as the monorail line between TTC and the resorts and Epcot. So it's that one. Even though the TTC, there's an express monorail loop that goes around clockwise on the outer part, and then, or the outer ring, whatever, of that loop. And then the inner runs counterclockwise, and that's what they call the resort loop, or the resort monorail, and it stops at the TTC, the Magic Kingdom, the Contemporary, the Polynesian, and the Grand Floridian. But I'm not doing loops. It's a straight shot. So this monorail line here conceptually is both the Express and Epcot line in one. So think of it like that. And then over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up by, I am going to paint the terrain over here. Just so that I can get a better idea of how it looks. And then I'm also going to paint these platforms that I put the rail posts on, so that they are a little better looking. You know, I get rid of that ugly gray. I do not like this gray. And then this is a little rough at the moment, but it's kind of the idea, because this is where the rail starts to go, increases in elevation and actually, separates from the ground, as it were. So just go ahead, and I'm just going to paint everything from this point back, and then I can always come back and add green back wherever I want to. But for right now, I'm just going to do it this way. Now, I do have to watch my O2 because there is no oxygen or power on these rails yet. So, but I am approaching the buggy, so I'll be able to top off when I get to the buggy. But I hope this gives people ideas. I've seen people do this as well, and kudos, they were even more accurate. Like their terrain was almost perfect. The rail was perfect. Everything. I mean, holy cow! I don't have that patience to do that. But this I like because it's a compromise between exactness and realism and practical, as it were, meaning the amount of effort that I'm willing to spend doing this. You know, if I had the patience to make it perfect, I would. But then I would actually get frustrated at how long it was taking. So this is just the compromise between all those. Um, so almost done. This is the easy part. It really is. So, oh, and I see I have to do a little bit of con- uh, conjiggering, as it were, with the terrain because it does cover that up a little bit. So I'll have to hit that with the alignment mod at some point coming up. Okay, be careful. Okay, it's not there, so I can't accidentally pick it up. At least I don't think I can. Um, and now I got the camera going all wonky. There we go. All right. All right. So that's in place. Looks a lot better. Looks really good. I am happy with it. So, yep. Like I said, I intentionally put this one that way because this way you're looking over this way, which will be much more interesting than just looking at that. And yeah, all this junk will be removed. In fact, this will probably turn into a parking lot because, of course, it's the TTC. So, yeah. So I'll just got to get the asphalt out, the black out, which means the road will cross under again a second time probably because it's got to get on this side of the rail again. So, and then these I'll probably paint green anywhere underneath these. If they're extremely tall, which I don't think I have any that are, I would paint them brown, but I don't think I really had to go that wild. I was really lucky on the crevasses with their distance. Those two rail posts right there in the center of the screen worked out perfectly. The distance from here to here was a full rail post, and then from here to here was a full rail post. So I didn't have to build a pillar in the middle of that canyon. So it worked out really well. I got really lucky there. Same thing over here. So here I'll probably paint this one brown. I don't know. And then this would be green and yeah. So I'm going to probably start the next episode showing how I lay my rails, that I spend almost 2 to 3 minutes per rail post, you know, getting them, verifying they're at the right height, verifying they're at the right, you know, I have curves that make sense as opposed to sharp kinks and such. And, you know, why you won't watch me build the whole railroad, because it would be, you know, just those, that's only 10 rail posts, the tall rail posts. It was one bundle, and that took me about an hour just to do those 10. So it's what I enjoy, though. I'd say some people enjoy reading books. Some people enjoy wood carving. I enjoy building railroads. So incompetently, but I enjoy building them. So, so I'm gonna end it there, and I'm really glad I was able to preserve as much of this as possible. Like I said, I love to preserve the natural landscape that is in the area. It makes things look nice, but I may landscape as well. Definitely down this middle I will be landscaping, potentially over here. I'll do a little bit of landscaping. I may even add my blocks, my signals. If you've seen those before, what I've done with those, I'll see if I do that or not. But here we are, folks. This is, I don't know what this base will be called, because we have the TTC, Epcot, oh, excuse me. Yawn, didn't mean to yawn on you there. Magic Kingdom, Epcot. If I do Epcot, which will be that end. TTC, what would this be? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. It could be whatever. Maybe the Grand Floridian. Who knows? The Contemporary. That's actually a pretty easy shape to make. It's just a A-frame, right? So, of course, I already did this. I'd have to build the monorail going right through the Contemporary. Oh, that sounds... Oh, I have another idea. Not here, but I have another idea. I don't know how wild I would go with the Contemporary. I don't know if I would go to scale, as it were. That would be, wow, a lot of work, but maybe a scaled down version, not trying to scale to the rails in game. So just going through an A-frame structure, because trying to build to scale, no, I'm not going to try to do that. And I'm definitely not going to get Mary Blair's mural, her tile mural that is in the Contemporary. There's no way I could do that mural. But okay, anyhow, so there we are, folks, making progress, but there are going to be episodes where I have to do the support for all this. I need to get auto extractors going. I need to get resources gathered. I need to get to other planets. I have a lot of other stuff that also has to happen. So next episode will be probably doing a little bit more work with this. And then we're going to, or not where, I guess I should say I am going to then try to continue with some other production stuff. Maybe even start toward the Galastropods, because I do also want to get to the Awakening story arc, because of all the lore in Astroneer, the Awakening, that is my favorite. And the story, how it ends, gets me with Kronos. Spoiler, if you haven't done Awakening by now, sorry. But anyhow, there we are, folks. Here we are on the dirt plains of a rail yard. So, okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids of all ages, take care and bye.